welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, January 26, 2016. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. Agriculture officials here are predicting an expected yield of about over £1 million to be harvested for the season, which officially began today. With the price for arrowroot at $1 per pound, more and more farmers are said to be returning to arrowroot farming to enjoy the benefits of what is being described as an increasingly lucrative industry. According to General Manager of SVG's Arrowroot industry, Caldrick Brown, the weather may pose a problem for the arrowroot harvesting season. They're expecting a very big yield and are hoping to move some of these crops to more and newer markets, thus increasing the profits for farmers.
We are having some unpredictable weather. Now, we should be getting into the dry weather and we are having rains. This could affect the quality of the starch. As a matter of fact, some rhizomes could start springing. But what we intend to do is to monitor the fields closely and harvest as we see fit. We'll take those fields that are oldest, harvest the oldest field first. Okay, a few years ago farmers been getting 25 cents a pound. This price was not attractive to the farmers, so most farmers, they went out of production. We had to do something to stimulate farmers getting back into production. So the price moved from $1, from 25 cents to 30 cents to 50 cents. But when we moved to $1, that was enough. So we had a lot of farmers coming back into production. Okay, this year we are anticipating that we'll have over 100,000 pounds of starch. So we are looking for new markets. We are trying to get into those traditional markets and looking for new markets.
Javon Batiste, an arrowroot farmer here, is urging farmers to enjoy the benefits of arrowroot. One such benefit, Batiste says, is that he can plant his crop without the worry of predial larceny, which has been a major problem nationwide.
Planting little peas, cucumber, all sorts of crop I grow, different.
But you've been in Arrowroot for 3-4 years now.
4 years.
And how has that been for you? Has it been beneficial? Give us some of the good and the bad as well in between.
Yeah, very good. Because first time the money wasn't so nice and thing, but now the money are kind of a little bit good and thing now. Okay. Yeah.
Tell me, what would a day be like for you in your field for planting arrowroot?
Well, for me planting arrowroot, because nothing else doing the attempt, because if you plant like planting and thing, man gonna steal them. Rovers. Okay. Yeah, but this arrowroot now, man wouldn't steal the arrowroot, so you see $1 pound for the arrowroot, and a man can dig at least about 5-6 baskets a day, 600 pounds a day.
So would you encourage other farmers to get involved in arrowroot?
Yeah, very, very good. I like them to join, and plant some arrowroot to make a little change.
This country's Prime Minister, Dr. Rav Gonsalves, says no one will stand in the way of protesters as long as they do not disregard the Public Order Act. Speaking on a recent radio program on Monday in an attempt to clear up all misapprehension of the law, Prime Minister Gonsalves said that protesters are able to protest in Kingstown and anywhere else. However, if the police feels that their conduct is creating disorder and disturbing the peace, the law enforcement officers reserve the right to ask any protester to leave the area they are gathered.
If you inform the police that you're going to protest and you're within the 200 yards limit of a public building, the police are not going to ask you to move unless you conduct yourself in a manner where the police apprehend that you're creating some disorder or you're causing some problem to an individual, or you're likely to have a breach of the peace and so on. You read the provisions, and then the offense is committed when the police ask you to leave and you do not leave. Because the Public Order Act says you do not have a right to be there, but you're permitted to be there, but only on condition that you conduct yourself in a manner which is orderly.
The Prime Minister further commended the restraint of the police in dealing with protesters outside the electoral office, who have been over almost a month now. According to the Prime Minister, the police have an obligation to uphold peace in the nation.
For everyone who is in authority, and in particular you with the police. Of course, the question is how the police must be restrained. Matter for that, you know. You understand me? Hello?
Yes, 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 of course.
That's a matter for them.
Yes.
Because they have to make the judgment, and of course, even though they are restrained, they have the law to enforce that if you push the envelope, they will say, no, you're gone too far. I'm going to take you in and maybe charge you, not charge you, as the case may be, because that is for their determination and between themselves and the DPP in relation to charging. So, and I think everybody would acknowledge that the police have acted with remarkable restraint in this world.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister claims that Grenadian journalist Hamlet Mark, who was detained by the police here during last week's protest action, is a paid operative of the New Democratic Party, the NDP. Dr. Gonsalves is of the view the veteran journalist is trying to demonize Assistant Commissioner of Police Christopher Benjamin, noting that he cannot prevent the police from ensuring compliance with the law and public safety. According to Dr. Gonsalves, Vincentians must recognize the connection that the Grenadian journalist has with the NDP, and therefore he must not be viewed as an independent journalist, but one who has motives.
Hamlet Mark, though a journalist, is in St. Vincent, or has been in St. Vincent since before the election, during the election campaign, that he has been in St. Vincent as a paid operative, political operative of the New Democratic Party. That does not make him an independent journalist. It's perfectly in order for him to be here as a national of an OECS country. Comes in, he doesn't need any work permit, and he works for whom he wants. But he cannot, either as an independent journalist or a paid political operative, at any place where the police are seeking to maintain law and order and to prevent the subversion of public order, public safety, or to make sure that individuals who are carrying out their duties, including those at the Supervisor of Elections office, that they carry out their work in relative peace.
Speaking directly on the arrest of the Grenadian journalist, Dr. Gonsalves says that he has regarded as an overbearing, that he was regarded as an overbearing hindrance to the Assistant Commissioner of Police, and therefore had to be removed from the picket due to his role in obstructing justice.
I understand that that's Wednesday last week. He went in, he was at the picket line, and ACP Benjamin was talking to the officers under him and giving requisite instructions with people nearby. And Hamlet Mark came in front of them with his equipment, his camera and his microphone. And he was told to go back. And I understand he has posted that on the very Wednesday on his site. Now the next day, the Thursday, I've been advised that he got even closer to Benjamin, to ACP Benjamin. Again, Benjamin now considering that this is not only an interference, but it's an overbearing interference in the police doing their work and obstructing the police. So he directed that he be taken down away from the scene down to the barracks, and of course they didn't charge him.
The Minister of National Security, however, emphasized the fact that Hamlet Mark has a right to be an SVG, but that he is not above the law and will not be permitted to interfere with the job of the police nor the electoral office.
Well, I happen to know that the government of Grenada was very displeased with him coming to St. Vincent in the manner in which he came. I could tell you that. And that doesn't mean that while he's working here for the NDP, he will not also send news out. And you notice the way I address these things, Pijan. There are people who say, and I've seen it, said, oh, you all grab a man like that, come from Grenada, do this sort of thing, and behaving in this manner. You notice that I tell you he has a right to be here because I have signed immigration instruments in the OECS, which will enable Cecil Ryan, Marlon and Pijan as citizens of the St. Vincent and Grenadines to go to Grenada and work without a work permit. I want also therefore to tell my own supporters and all right-thinking Vincentians that there's nothing wrong with him being here, but he has to obey the laws of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, like how you and I have to obey the laws.
Former Attorney General here, Panel Campbell QC, has expressed concern that the rights of the Supervisor of Elections, Sylvia Findlay, have been violated. On his weekly televised program on SVG-TV, program number 816 entitled A Daughter's Lament, Campbell read from a letter penned and published in a local newspaper by daughter of the Supervisor of Elections, Failing King. The letter spoke of King being troubled by the barrage of verbal abuse her mother faces by protesters outside the electoral office and says the attacks are unwarranted. Campbell says his program is a follow-up to last week's program, which he dedicated to the Supervisor of Elections, whom he describes as honest. The Queen's Counsel says that he agrees with leader of the Democratic Republican Party, the DRP, Anicia Batiste, whom he says believes that trampling on the rights of others in the name of a protest is a flawed view.
I commend to you the words of Mrs. Anicia Batiste, whom no one can accuse of being indifferent to people's rights. Miss Batiste has said, according to what I read in a publication, that the right to protest doesn't carry with it the right to break the law. I'm paraphrasing what she said. She has always been a champion of human rights, but she has said that human rights cannot be enjoyed in breach of the law. And that is what I was saying not only in last week's program, but program after program after program. You cannot say you are exercising your rights if in doing so you are trampling on the rights of other persons.
Campbell questions the claims that the ongoing protest actions have been peaceful and says that the behavior of some protesters have been damaging the reputation of the country.
So far as protesters may think they have something to protest about, which in the given circumstances is extremely doubtful, that protest must be peaceful. And what has happened in the past outside the offices of the Supervisor of Election can hardly be regarded as peaceful. And those who have influence over the people who are protesting ought to be conscious of the harm which the state of uncertainty continues to do to the name of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Meanwhile, leader of the New Democratic Party, Annim Eustace, is of the view that the police are getting erroneous directives to prohibit the protest action that has been taking place in the vicinity of the electoral office. On radio on Monday, the NDP leader says the use of riot gears to push persons away from the area was excessive and that several protesters were struck with police batons and had to seek medical attention. Eustace says despite these actions, they will continue to protest and use the court system to highlight their dissatisfaction with the results of the elections, which he believes were stolen.
It's somewhere between maybe 8 or so policemen with the issues came forward, moving in a circular motion and pushing us out of the way. As I said, I was right at the front. My daughter was right at the front at the time also. And there's some other people there, Sapi and the chap who sings the calypso, Ninja. I can see those are people who are in the front of the line, and we're being pushed back constantly by the police. I believe that I was only able to keep standing because of the crowd behind me, because we were not in a position to push back very much against the police line.
The opposition leader says Vincentians have the constitutional right to protest and that the demonstrators in front of the electoral office are conducting a non-violent picket. He says his New Democratic Party will be holding a rally this Saturday the 30th at the Leyu playing field.
I'm not a violent person. I don't get involved in violent acts. And the general population in St. Vincent is not a violent one. You always have individuals who go further than others, but basically our population is relatively peaceful. But we seem to be entering a stage now, aided by the officials, which is going to change that. Because you can only push the people so far and no further. And I'm saying to the police and the other authorities, these are peaceful protests. They are taking actions which can make the protest less peaceful.
The Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment says it has increased surveillance in the light of more reported cases of the Zika virus in several neighboring regional territories. Members of the public are also being called on to play their role in their shared responsibility by taking care of their immediate environment and also every precaution to avoid being bitten by mosquitoes. According to a release from the Pan American Health Organization, Zika is said to be a mosquito-borne virus that is new to the Americas. The release states that since Brazil reported the first cases of local transmission of the virus in May 2015, it has spread to 21 countries and territories of the Americas as of the 23rd January 2016. PAHO anticipates that Zika virus will continue to spread and will likely reach all countries and territories of the region where Aedes aegypti mosquitoes are found. The most effective forms of prevention are 1. Reducing mosquito populations by eliminating their potential breeding sites, especially containers and other items such as discarded tires that can collect water in and around households. 2. Using personal protection measures to prevent mosquito bites. The Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment is encouraging the public to inspect their homes and yards weekly and also to eliminate potential mosquito breeding sites indoors and outdoors by keeping water drums and barrels tightly covered and throwing out stagnant water from flower vases, old tires and other containers that might act as breeding sites. The ministry is also reminding all persons, especially women who are pregnant, to protect themselves from mosquito bites by wearing long-sleeve clothing or long pants, using insect repellents and sleeping under mosquito nets. It is also important to destroy all breeding sites for mosquitoes in and around the home. 3 products were officially launched here earlier today under the East Caribbean Marine Managed Area Network Conservation Public Awareness Program, ECMAN. The launching, which was held at the NIS conference room, was witnessed by persons from the Ministry of Tourism, Ministry of Agriculture, along with the Division of Fisheries and other stakeholders. The products which were launched include the This Is Who We Are song and video and a mural posted adjacent to the NIS headquarters. Speaking at the launch, Director of the National Parks, Rivers and Beaches Authority, Andrew Wilson, said that both the mural and video will help to promote the conservation of the island's marine areas, which is an aim of the ECMAN project.
The ECMAN project is regional in scope and will invest over $14.7 million to improve fisheries and conserve and restore marine resources, while providing for sustainable job opportunities. The project is also being implemented in 6 OECS countries, namely St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Grenada. The project has 4 main core areas of focus. Firstly, to establish new and strengthen existing marine management areas. In St. Vincent and the Grenadines, with respect to this focus area, we are focusing on the Tobago Keys Marine Park, new areas of the proposed South Coast Marine Park, and the leeward coast of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Secondly, the project is seeking to support fisher organization and provide support for new livelihood opportunities. And thirdly, to improve access to data and information regarding management of marine resources. And fourth, instituting sustainable funding mechanism to support marine management as part of the Caribbean Challenge Initiative, a regional initiative to have 20% of our nearshore marine areas effectively conserved and managed by the year 2020.
Minister of Tourism Cecil Mackey commended the work of the Marine Conservation Public Awareness Initiative, which he said has and will continue to impact the lives of all Vincentians.
This project gives us an excellent opportunity to further intensify the work that we have been doing as a ministry and with other stakeholders. Gives us the opportunity to go into the schools, all levels of the schools. We've been doing that, but it allows us to intensify this presence, to go into the churches, to go into the communities, and also to address all of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Because it is the people aspect of this project that is going to allow it to work or not to work. So I want to urge all of us here this morning who are stakeholders in the project to understand the opportunity that will present itself.
Minister Mackey urged the gathering to use the public awareness medium to engage Vincentians in the conservation process. He noted that while the involvement of stakeholders is essential, the public as well must play a role, as it will take a shared initiative to fully implement the project.
Use this opportunity to say to Vincentians, not only would the responsibility rest on the shoulders of all of the stakeholders, persons gathered here, the responsibility rests on every shoulder in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And that's why this morning we're going to ask the media to pay particular attention to this project and to take the message out to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Work even closer with the organizing committee so that that message can get out there. Because we have to understand that we are creating a future for our young people. We have to understand that if we do not protect what we have now, eventually we would lose it. And therefore, the onus would be on every Vincentian to carry that message forward so that we can protect what we have and continue to have it available to the generations of the future.
Noted as a showcase of the excellent local artistic and creative talents, the 3 products launched earlier today as part of the Ekman Marine Conservation Public Awareness Program are all now available for viewing. The mural was painted by artist and entrepreneur Shanique Stewart under the theme Our Marine Life, It's a Beautiful Thing. The This Is Who We Are song was written and produced by Max Cyrus with lead vocals by Keith Currency, Mentalist and New Stars, while the video was directed by Calvert Jones. Here's a look at the products.
This is who we are, we are, we are. This is who we are, it's who we are, it's who we are. Cause this is who we are, we are, we are. This is who we are, it's who we are, it's who we are. So brother, love my country, love my life. And see, love the beaches, love the sun. And see, love the rivers and all the sea. And see, gonna protect it in every way. Cause this is who we are, we are, we are. This is who we are, it's who we are, it's who we are. Cause
Archaeologists from the Leiden University in the Netherlands, as well as several local government ministries, have commenced work to recreate the Kaya village at the cultural heritage site near the Argyle International Airport. Speaking at the heritage site earlier today, Minister of Tourism Cecil Mackey said the archaeological team, led by Dr. Corinne Hoffman, will be working with local personnel from the Forestry Division, indigenous persons from the North Windward area, as well as local experts in the construction sector to build capacity and allow the continuation of the project after her team has left. Mackey added that he hopes the Kaya village will be completed in time for the opening of the Argyle International Airport. He said it will feature indigenous items which would add value to the cultural heritage site.
Completion of the major aspect of the project, which is the 5 smaller huts and the larger hut, would also have additional areas where we can do more or less additional activities on the site, because we have to have things on offer here at the site. It will be enclosed, fence around, so it will be a controlled and managed area. What we have hope to have is items produced by our indigenous people, all of the wonderful tasty foods that they have been doing over the years. So we'll have a site not in the village itself, but just off of the village, where such foods will be produced and made available for eating. And we hope to have different craft items, art items that we can have on display for purchase as well on the site here.
Also speaking at the heritage site was Minister of Education St. Clair Jimmy Prince, who said the project is of critical importance as it adds historical data about St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and added that the project will go hand in hand with his ministry's plans to place greater emphasis on the teaching of history, particularly in secondary schools.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines are deficit in our learning and our teaching of history. And a lot of Vincentians don't know a lot about the history of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. As a matter of fact, written history of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is very short and very scant. Therefore, this project is absolutely important. I hope that as Minister of Education, I'm hoping that the students of the various secondary schools and primary schools too would take advantage of this site, would come here to do research, etc. My own constituency of Maricoa, we're just walking distance away from here. I'm hoping that these schools would take advantage and come down to Argyle to see what is happening. We are trying, from a government standpoint, to put a new emphasis on history, the teaching of history in schools, particularly in the secondary schools, and this is going to be a very important part of this process.
And Area Representative Frederick Stevenson said the project, as well as the construction of the Argyle International Airport, is important to the area, as they both would create development and economic opportunities for persons of Argyle and Vincentians on a whole.
Today we are here, as you heard, constructing the Kaya village, and this would also add to the tourism development for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and also would create some employment for the persons who live closest here. It is exciting times for St. Vincent and the Grenadines as we look on and we see the final touches being put in place on the international airport here at Argyle, and we look forward very soon to the commencement of operations. I look forward to see this area fully developed and to ensure that all the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the youngsters, the not so young, the elderly, would come here to see what is happening, to enjoy and be a part of the continued development of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and here at Argyle.